My name is Esther Mushiri from E-Mentoring Africa. Very excited to welcome you all to the Mentors Parlour this evening. For those who are joining us for the first time, this is the space to be in. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and some special Tuesdays, where we hang out after a busy day. For those of us working from home after too many Zoom meetings, this is a fun Zoom where we sit back, relax, and listen to, let me call them magnificent 6 mentors who have offered to take this period of COVID-19 to share their wisdom on different areas that young people reached out to us as E-Mentoring Africa, saying that we need to be mentored in this area. COVID has happened, we find ourselves at home, what do we do? Mukuhi and Nabutola, karibuni sana. I will be silent now and allow you to take it off from here. Asanteni sana.
Thank you very much. Mukuhi.
Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, everybody, for making the time. So today we are rolling with Nabutola, and we want to talk about keys on how to be self-motivated. And we also want to talk about proactive. I mean, how do we, and this is part of it, talking about the keys for self-motivation, touches on being proactive. If you remember, for those who are here, because I know some have joined us after that, we already had some sessions on self-awareness, and we talked about based around the book of Stephen Covey, The Habits of Highly Effective Families, Teens, and People. And so we were exploring those habits. And why I'm so fond of them, it's because it's, it's things I've tried. I'm quite experimental. So some of those habits, I've seen the benefits of it's, be proactive. So today we're going to get in a little bit more proactive, and hopefully we can have, it's quiz night on the side of getting proactive. So I want to invite Prof. Nabutola to start us off.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much, Rachel, and good evening all. So they're all muted. They can hear me, but I can't hear them. That's fine. The true teacher that I am, I will ask, we're discussing motivation. So any volunteer to tell me what they understand by motivation? Anybody? I'll not pick anyone, just any volunteers in the house. We are discussing motivation. What does it mean to you? Any volunteers? Please? No?
Pick somebody.
And feel free to chat. You can use the chat for responding.
Yeah.
I can risk it.
Is that easier? Are people feeling uncomfortable to speak on this space?
Oh, no, we have a
I could
speaker.
risk
Go.
it.
Yes,
Yes,
sure.
please.
Go
Try.
once ago.
All right. So for me, I think motivation, I could define it in 2 ways. One, it's intrinsic and extrinsic. But the overarching definition of it is just finding a certain stimuli to initiate something in people. So finding some desire or a need or a stimulus, a certain stimulus that can make people do something or what you desire to be done. Yeah.
Thank you. That's brilliant. That's very good. Extrinsic, intrinsic. That itself needs to be defined, but that's all right. So, thank you very much. I think some are internal. Okay, some of that you meant like intrinsic, and extrinsic are things that come, things that come from outside. Thank you very much. Anybody else to add, subtract?
Well, maybe I can try.
Yes, please, Rachel.
For me, I just want to, for me, motivation essentially is 90% internal. I personally think it's truly impossible to motivate someone. But if you're inspired from within, it's quite easy to get anybody started. Therefore, for me, my definition of motivation is one that is 90% internal, and the 10% will manifest from what is coming from within. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other volunteers?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I
Jane
would.
Hatari.
I understand. My understanding of motivation is that it's the drive.
Yes.
It's the drive. What drives you to act, to think, to move, and the sources are what is the internal or the outside sources. But generally, it's the drive. What moves you? What gives you that energy? What moves your energy towards a certain direction? That's my understanding of motivation.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Misi. Any other volunteer before I take the floor? Although I'm already on the floor, but I'll take the floor.
As you
Hash is
also
typing in. Can I read out for Hash? She says positivity and hunger of achieving one's goals and desires.
Thank you, Hash. Excellent.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, for me, what I'm thinking about motivation, I'm thinking it's like psych, you know, okay, whatever psych means in this case, but it reminds me back in school, you know, would really psych each other up, like, you know, like steam, steam, so everybody gets, you know, psyched up to do something. So I think there is an inward part and the outward part of it. So yeah.
Brilliant, brilliant. Any other person to add? Lubini, any comment?
Sounds like it's all been covered.
Okay, all right. If you think so, if you guess. All right. Okay, let me just, for the sake of those who haven't met me before, Wafula Nabutola, by training a land economist, and my passion really is to share knowledge, especially with the younger people. And I say share because as I give, I also obtain. It's never a one-way street. And I've been doing this for some time. My background started in the government. I worked in government, then went to the private sector. Now I'm again in government in a different capacity. And through all this, I know for a fact that no one knows everything. And those who know everything, I can't speak for them. I'm not one of them. But I feel that this really is a platform where we can share ideas, and perhaps one idea could actually change somebody's life. Just that one idea could make somebody say, oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that. I hadn't thought of that. You know, that's the whole essence about us on this platform, specifically about motivation. And I'll be sharing with you the motivation. I have adopted the presentation by my favorite motivational speaker, Les Brown, who talks about keys to self-motivation. And I'll sort of paraphrase some things and sort of add other things. But basically, it's his show. You know, it's what he has talked about motivation, and I find it very enriching. And I'll be sharing some slides with the permission, of course, of Esther. Esther, I'll share when you are ready.
please go
If you are
ahead.
ready.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, this is the time when things disappear. You know how you, okay, here we go. What have you done to my, all right. I can manipulate this, can't I, Esther? It's on page 2. Okay, page 2 is fine. Page 1 is just my name, so not terribly important. I already introduced myself, but I would like to just share. Can I make this any, what do I need to do to make it?
You see at the bottom where there is that,
this one?
screen share?
No, that one.
Yeah, that one, good.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. We learn every day. So That is my game plan. I'll talk a bit about and make a statement of promise that there's something, I promise you, there's something you'll pick from here that you didn't know before. That's my promise. Okay? Then I'll go on and define motivation. I mean, it's already been defined, so we'll just skim over that. Then there's this famous person called Maslow. He talks about Maslow's hierarchy of human needs, which in a way encompasses what Agavi talked about, the intrinsic and extrinsic. Then I'll talk about the inverted pyramid of that's Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I'll quickly then go to Les Brown with his many keys to self-motivation, which are working on yourself, developing a health plan, live life with passion and energy, monitoring your inner conversation. I'm talking about confidence building. You know how some people are so uncomfortable or they feel that they need to say something, but then the inner conversation says, oh, should I say that? Oh, what will people think? Oh, what will they think of me? Maybe they'll consider me stupid. That kind of attitude that we sometimes have. Then know what you want, what you really want in life, and then visualize it. What will it be when you see it or when you have it? What will, once you see or you identified what you want, how will you feel? How will it make you different? The next one is about your purpose. Are you a strategic thinker or a doer? And it's a mix. People are not necessarily one or the other. And you're talking about mastering your skills. And I keep saying this to my friends and even those who are not so friends. God makes no junk. So whoever you are, wherever you are, God intended you for a purpose, which if you want to do it, it will not be done because it was you. It was you. When you came to this world, there was something that you're supposed to deliver. Okay? Then be relentless. This is biblical, and I play some basketball. So I'll talk about Michael Jordan, but I'll also talk about a Kenyan athlete, Eliud Kipchoge, Kenya's best, and it's the idea of being relentless and wanting to go for the gold and go for the world record. And he hasn't stopped, and he has the world record. And of course, then just for the sake of cocktail, we talk about Professor Madai, who almost single-handedly saved the environment in Kenya, and well, particularly in Nairobi. And then I'll talk about taking action, the issue of procrastination, because what happens, the opportunities you see today will not be here today. And that's why I like what Rachel was talking about, being proactive. You see something, you go for it. Because you check tomorrow, you say, oh, I saw something here. It's gone. You see it now, and then tomorrow it's not there. Then we are talking about focusing on something larger than yourself. Here I'm talking about what are you doing, giving back. Are you giving back something? You can't afford not to give back. Then I'll talk about relationships, friends, and not so friends. This is a Shakespearean quote. And really what we are talking about is your friends influence how you progress in your motivation. There are friends who build you. There are some friends who drain you, and the last chapter in my life has not been written yet. So I'm just in the state of continual becoming. Can I go on? No comment? That's my game plan. If it was Parliament, I would say hands, those who want to second it, but since there's no Parliament, let's just go on with it. Motivation is defined there. We don't need to spell anything out, okay? It's the reason, and you've all given that, reasons to act or behave in a particular way. There's a son is a brilliant student. He just lacks motivation. The reason to do that. There seems to be a lack of motivation among the employees. Just examples. The need or reason for doing something. What was the motivating factor for the attack? Al-Shabaab, for example. Maybe they needed to be known. Any other attacks we've had lately? We've had some attacks, cattle rustling. What's the motivation? In Marsabit recently, we had people, we got, even yesterday, as late as yesterday, people killed each other because of grazing grounds. The motivation behind the decision you make, the desire to improve our services. Let's go on. There's just other names similar to that. So the thesaurus ignore that. No, don't ignore it. You can read it on your own time. I don't want to take too much time on that. But here is Abraham's Maslow, or hierarchy of motivation. The first one, bottom of the pyramid, is physiological, about food, about sleep, that kind. And the argument being that unless you satisfy the food factor, you don't start thinking about safety. You first want to satisfy, to address your physiological needs. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. I don't know how long any one of us can go without food or water if we are thirsty. I think there's a limit to that. So those take first priority. Once those have been satisfied, then there's the issue of safety, and we'll be looking at maybe shelter and so on. Then as that is satisfied, we go higher. There's the issue of belonging, being loved, having friends. Then the next one is esteem. And we're talking now, so from physiological at the bottom, now we have psychological, about the mind. And the last one is about self-actualization. And then I sort of, break them down there because I've already explained, so we want to save time. The behavior, the argument here is that if hunger is satisfied, you can go to something else. If it's not, you never want to do anything else until the hunger factor has been addressed, and so on and so on. Okay, now this is Leslie Campbell Brown, and this discussion is based on him. And you can see I would urge each one of you at your own time to just Google him and check what kind of resourceful person he is. But the one thing that stands out is a brilliant motivator. He is actually called Mr. Motivator. And he always says the point that he didn't go to college. But these days, colleges, universities, including Harvard, invite him. Remember like Jack Ma, who was rejected 10 times by Harvard. Now Harvard go over themselves to try and get him to speak to them. And he's not arrogant. He goes to speak to them, That's Les Brown. Any questions you can ask me, but it's a smart cookie. Okay, he talks about working on yourself. I think we've already discussed this, develop a health plan and so on. So those are the keys. Actually, they should be 12 or 13. I put 11. So let's go on. One is work on yourself. That's the first one. Many people go through life never getting in touch with their greatness because of lack of motivation. They desire to push themselves, or because they have not found something that they believe to be worthwhile to challenge them. Many talented people have gone to their graves unnoticed. Yesterday, Maggie talked about, the richest place on the planet are the graveyard. Many people with their brilliant ideas found themselves in the graveyard, okay? So that's working on yourself. How do you do that? Develop a health plan. You cannot possibly do well and work well if your health is not good. So evaluate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, your mental attitude. How are you? Do you relate with people, or are you one of those people who don't care? Although right now, maybe you shouldn't relate so much because of the social distancing, but that doesn't count for now. How do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about life? In terms of your physical appearance, your health, do you take care of yourself? Are you getting overweight and out of shape? It's a question you can ask yourself. The food you eat, what kind of food do you eat? Is it fresh? Luckily in this country, a lot of the food could be fresh, but now we're getting things like Wafula toxin, which I don't know why it was named after me, but never mind. We cannot help getting older, according to Les Brown, but you don't have to get old. The other question ask yourself is, how is the environment? Is it a good one or is it toxic? Now, item number 2 is live life with passion and energy. Your career, is it what you really want? There's somebody on this platform who studied one thing and then changed his career to something else, and they're very successful. And that's what I would like to encourage young people, because sometimes you could have interest in one thing, then another thing, then another thing. Ultimately, you want to, through maybe trial and error, to identify which really is your passion, what drives you, what excites you, and then go for it with all you have. Research has shown that 85% of people are not happy at work. But in our context, with unemployment going to 50 or so percent, sometimes you just have to take what you can find. Your relationship and your impact on your life, is it nourishing you or is it draining you? Something to ask yourself. And Les Brown says, life is God's gift to us. How we live our life is our gift to God. It seems whatever you do turns out badly. Some people just feel so negative about themselves that they lose confidence in themselves. Then they're at home watching TV, they're bored, you know, just clicking the TV. Ask them, what are you watching? They're just looking. Not a program, they're just, you know, watching, and that's it. They're discontent with themselves. At some point, you'll get tired and depressed if you keep on like that. We're going to talk about your conversation, and this is the inner conversation. We already mentioned it, but I think it would be nice to just highlight it again. You must work on yourself continuously. Never be satisfied with yourself. A dog can't be anything but a dog. A tree can't be anything but a tree. Human beings, you and I, we have unlimited potential. But sometimes we get timid and we panic. You remember that time when you, maybe in a wedding or a funeral or some other function, and you are asked to speak to the public or to those people to address the gathering. When you stand up, somehow your mind sits down and you're wondering, oh, why did I have to stand at all? If it's a funeral, sometimes you wish you're the one in the casket. Why? Because a lot of people lose confidence in themselves. And that's part of why we need to motivate ourselves by developing ourselves and so on and so on. Know what you want. What do you really want out of life? What will stimulate you? And I think one of the participants talked about this. What stimulates you? When you have identified that, write it down. And once you've written it down, read it 3 times a day. Don't be vague. Discipline your thinking. Concentrate on developing yourself. Don't settle for less. You know how they talk about out-of-court settlement? Because you feel that if you went to court, you may not get what you want. So you prefer to get a little bit than to get the whole thing. You know, your loss of confidence. In life, you are either on the way or you are in the way. In other words, you're an obstacle. Now visualize what it is you want. How will you know when you have it? What will be different because you got what you want? What meaning and value does it bring to your life? Develop a reputation. You are not competing with anybody. You're just unfolding yourself. Because sometimes we as human beings then say, oh, so and so, how are they doing? That's really not your concern. More should be, unless you can collaborate with that person, you should be working on how can I bring out my best to be the best person you can be. Know your purpose. This is also important. I mean, none of these keys is more important than the others, but purpose is key in very many ways. Give the best quality of your life, whenever it is, whatever you're doing. When you want something, you don't expect people to just accept it and say, oh, come down, and they put a carpet for you. They say, karibu, karibu sana. It doesn't work like that. Many doors will be closed in your face when you want to when you have identified what you want. There will be failures even. I think it goes with the territory. And you, on your part, you must be fearless. Refuse to be denied. You know you deserve it. We are talking about mastering your skills. Eliminate self-doubt. How do you eliminate that? By doing things over and over and over. Working not for perfection, because perfection really belongs to the graveyard. It belongs to the cemetery. When something is perfectly, they're dead, they're buried, they're perfect. You can't improve them. We are working for excellence. I'm not talking about the governors, whether here or in the US. I'm talking about excellence, output, quality of output that cannot be gainsaid. And if you have a passion for carpentry or plumbing or masonry, if you like to be a lawyer, you know lawyers, some lawyers could also be masons. It's not to say it's mutually exclusive, if you love sharing knowledge like I do, be a teacher. There are people who work and master their skills very much. And one of them, again, is Michael Jordan. The other one is Sir Ken Robinson. And I would encourage you to look him up, Ken Robinson. But equally back home, we have our own, the world's best teacher, Brother Peter Tabichi from Nakuru. I believe you've heard of him. You've seen him. He didn't just wake up one day and become the best teacher in the world. He worked at it. There he is, receiving his reward. Brilliant. I just feel so proud that we have such a Kenyan and a good example for others to follow. Maybe we should be asking him to model for us, to just advise us what was his growth path up to the time when he was declared the world's best teacher. I'm coming towards the end, then you can ask all the questions you want, but you're talking about taking action. Don't wait for things to be perfect. They never will. That's not walking by faith. That's walking by sight. Remember Thomas who said, if I see it, I believe it. And what did Jesus say? Jesus showed him the side where he'd been speared. And I think Thomas must have been embarrassed that he didn't believe the Lord. Don't be disturbed if others can't see what you are seeing. Be like the Apostle Paul, who calls to things that be not as though they were. That is faith. And we really want to work on faith in yourself and, of course, faith in the Maker. You can't have one and not the other. God has his role in the things we need to do. Do what you can with what you have and never be satisfied. Don't wait for the situation to be ideal, because it never will be ideal. Decide that you deserve what you're going to have, and go in life. You have to be willing to be unreasonable. You have to be willing to be. People laugh at you, but you know what you want. You've defined it, you've written it down, and every day you're talking about it to yourself. 3 times a day you read it, and you find it begins to make sense. Towards the end of this discussion, I just want to talk about focusing on something that are larger than yourself. Find something that you can contribute. Give something back to society. All of us, each one of you here, there's no one who would claim that they're only brought up just by their parents. Society built a school. Society built a college. Society built the road, the shop, everything. So the point is, talk to yourself and say, I can't afford to give anything. You cannot afford not to give. You can give your time. You can give your talent. It's called tithing to the universe. Really give tithe to the universe. You have to give something back from where you've come from. And I think a lot of us do that. Just last week, we had how, again, Michael Jordan, he donated $100 million towards this effort to try and remove racialism in America, but I think it will take a little more than that. Okay, so you need to develop a sense of mission, like finding a cause larger than yourself. I have in mind, particularly in this country, those young people who have finished or completed their studies and haven't got a job yet. If you go back home, you can help young children in nursery school learn how to read and write. Volunteer. I'm talking about volunteering. You don't always have to be paid. Just go there, like the MP for somewhere in Meru, who was fingered because he was volunteering and teaching, and the people said, this is the kind of person who want to lead us. So you see, it transmitted from volunteering to being a full-time, I think, a job, okay? And so if you have some examples from the audience, can you give me any? If you have some ideas of how you can give back to society, anybody, please? Hello. You all fell asleep. Okay, let me go.
We are here with you.
We are here. We're listening.
We are here, Dr.
Okay. Yes.
I think, yeah, perhaps to add to that, maybe in terms of giving back, I think maybe some of the ways would be like giving time, like if it's there are all these different needy situations. You know, they could be children's homes, they could be, even this time there's food distribution going on for the, for some of the people who are not able to, you know, make an income during this COVID time. So I think such networks are a way of giving back. Time, I think time is one of the things which, you know, other than giving financially and having somebody else do it, then you could also just volunteer to do something. Myself, like I keep saying, I have benefited a lot from having volunteered earlier on. It really has made me who I am, and a lot of my, let's say my career pathing really began with that. Volunteering showed me what it was I was good at, and that's really when I realized where my strengths were. So
thank you very much, Mukuhi. Yeah, you see, somebody else, anybody else, please.
Maybe I can give an example.
Yes, Maggie.
Yeah, one of the ways, just like Mukuhi has said, I also, when I was a bit younger, I actually found that I could actually have opportunities to give. Maybe here in Kenya, I know I've done a bit with the Red Cross, initial days when I was a bit free. And I find that when you're there, you know, when you're volunteering, by the way, it's taught me also networking. Because when you're volunteering, for example, when you go there, you can meet some of these, what do you call, us guys in the corporate. And you know, when you're volunteering, you never know who is who, because sometimes we wear t-shirts and what. And before you know it, you start talking to people, just ordinary talks. You know, it's not about who am I, whatever, you know, because you're brought together by that purpose. Yeah, the purpose, the wanting to impact. But I find it so fulfilling. I don't even know how to explain. And especially even when you're down, even I know some people, sometimes even when you're maybe seeking for a job, or you feel like you've come to the end of life, or you're looking for a job and you've been looking, or whatever the scenario could be. Do you know, when you go out there and give back, it's like the universe, you know, the dots connect, and the universe just gives it back to you. So it's almost like when you're going, you want to impact those people, but you know, you actually end up being the one impacted. So I don't know the word to explain when I give back. Maybe for me, because it's a crazy thing, it's like some, I can't explain, but until you do it, you will see the power of giving back. And of course, it's a blessing, and like I said, very crazy networking opportunities. And of course, like Nabutola said at the beginning, we have every responsibility to give back, to impact. And it doesn't have to be money. Rachel had said that. It doesn't have to be money. It could be someone is down. It could be that there's a HIV home we go, it's called Nyumbani in Karen. Religiously go there as you know, one of our departments in the bank, we go there often. You know, those kids they have their HIV, how do you call them? They positive. Have this, yeah, they're positive. And they, you know, they live like it's like a dormitory, like a home. And when you go there, man, it's very humbling. It's I can't explain. It's very humbling. You actually get to appreciate life, and from a different perspective. But also when you're there, you see the kids are innocent. They don't know you. They don't even care. They don't, you know, for them, they see hope. When they see you, they see hope. It's very refreshing. And I think the more we can impact each other, even for us, like mentors, for us, when we mentor you guys, it's for, I don't know how the others feel, but for me, it's always a blessing to know that I can impact somebody, even though nobody mentored me earlier, like you guys. So yeah, I can say many things about it, but try it, guys. If you haven't done it, even you can walk to your neighbor with a mask and just, you know, talk to a younger kid, somebody younger than you or something. Even, you know, it's very fulfilling. I can't go on and on and on.
No, go on, Maggie. You know,
No,
this is entering the heart, the kidneys, and the lungs of those young people.
Yeah,
because sometimes they feel so hopeless. They say, there's nothing I can do. But there's a lot. So carry on.
There's a lot. And it's not about the money. I want to insist that point, yeah? Even the fact that you've given out your 30 minutes, like today, Nabutola and Rachel have given us a whole 1 hour, you know? they could be spending time with the family. So for me, I think it's like when you start doing it, I don't think you'll ever stop doing it. And by the way, in that giving, God opens doors that you might have thought you might have tried to knock for many years. So it's a blessing.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Anybody else, please? This is your show.
If I may, Dad, because
Yes,
this is really motivating stuff in itself, and thank you very much for the input. And it's really good to hear the different avenues that everybody takes towards driving towards motivation and looking for something larger than life. My slant is a bit different, and I agree with you totally. And I'll tell you my different slant. When I think about this, I think about giving back maybe to the environment and to the larger world and not just to people. So really simple example, maybe plant more trees, drive less, waste less. It's the little things that I think that if you find you're contributing to the society and to the environment in your own little way, that can motivate you by conserving the precious resources we have, by being more conscious of what you use and how you use it, being more eco-friendly. Those things go a long way as well. They go a long way as well. Very multi-dimensional thing here that we can do. You help people, you help the planet, you help nature, you help continuity and sustainability. It goes a long way. I find it helps me.
Thank you.
That is so true. Yep.
Go on. More, please. Thank you very much, Lubini. That's my big boy. Hey, Rachel.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
No, just telling you, that's my son.
Oh, that's your son. That's your big son. You're a proud father of a, yeah, awesome.
Anybody else?
Okay.
There must be other people who can do things. Yes, please.
We have some on the chat. People
There
are
are
chatting.
It's true.
I
There are
can see.
conversations coming in the chat. There's someone who is saying that they sing in the church, visiting the elderly and children's homes, and play and sing with them. Nancy, that was from Caro Namoya. And then Nancy Moniki also says she mentors children in schools and churches and visiting children's homes. So that's exciting.
That's really nice. Anybody else? There's the Kenyatta National Hospital has a cancer clinic for young people, children below the age of, I think, 6. And you go there and you can start crying because you find a child that innocent, that young, and they need a lot of support. They just need love. They need love. They just need to be hugged and be told that all will be well. And it's something you can do. Again, doesn't cost anything. Doesn't cost much. Another example would be like Kibra right now. Kibra and Madare, these are the informal, what I would call human settlements. And the people there need support also. And maybe you would say just food is not just food. They also need love. They need to be assured that there is hope. They need to be assured that there's tomorrow, and that if they take care of themselves and, those 3 things from government about the mask, about social distancing, which is actually practically impossible. Can you imagine in Kibra, how do you keep distance? Okay, maybe we would find a way. Scientists can come up with a way, perhaps. More, please. I want more. Esther, please allow more. Just a few more.
All right. Hello.
Why don't we allow, who's this? This is Agevi. Go ahead, Agevi.
All right. Sorry. I really love the example, Lubini. I don't know how to pronounce that name really well, but I really love that example. And for me, I've always thought about it, like he's thinking in terms of, most of the time when we talk about giving back, we always think about giving back to people. As much as we have this big picture of, responsibility to humankind is affected by so many other things in the universe. So, and there is always the domino effect. So if we look beyond ourselves as humans, and even just showing some act of kindness, even to a simple, animal like a cat or a dog, that is really powerful, because you don't know, you know, the psychological effect of that animal to maybe other things that might have a domino effect as it cascades to other things. So for me, those small acts of kindness, you know, so I'm just going to use a very simple example. Like there is this leader, I think the US, one of the presidents, I don't know if it's Nixon or Kennedy. He was, you know, they wanted to launch a satellite, and then he was just going around, and then he asked, there is a guy who was just a simple cleaner, and then he asked him, "What are you doing?" And then the guy just said, "I'm trying to put a man on the moon." And you know, that is powerful. Like a simple cleaner like that, and you get interested in what they're doing and just having a conversation with them, and then you get proud of the simple work they're doing. They might not be scientists, they might not be the ones who have invented the rockets and all that, but you see, there is a part they're playing, and just talking to them, showing them a simple act of kindness, even when we are getting out of our homes, you know, just saying hi to that guard at the gate, you know, when you come back home, just appreciating the work they're doing. They're equally important in the society. So those small acts of kindness, both to nature, to people and all that, it goes a long way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we'll stop for the time being about more examples and get Mukuhi to talk a little bit more about being proactive. Mukuhi, and then we can go back to more examples.
All right.
Karibu.
Yeah, this is good. In fact, well, you know, what we are just saying right now, I think is very much in terms of, you know, being, you know, we're talking about motivating ourselves, monitoring our inner conversations, giving back to society. You know, those are some of the things, you know, we're just trying to talk around examples of how to. So now when we bring the aspect of being proactive, I think it's that part where you are aware, your awareness of, so how do I do all these nice things? How do I get to volunteer? How do I get myself to doing it? So one thing we must realize as I go on to, you know, bringing out the aspect of proactiveness is about, we as human beings have like 4 unique gifts, which, you know, we come with them, we have them. You know, and like animals, we have those gifts. And these gifts are self-awareness, in the sense that we have the ability to stand from myself. I can stand from myself and observe my thoughts and actions, right? I can think to myself and reflect and say, why did I do what I did, you know? And, you know, and how did I feel about it? So what does it mean? Then we also have a gift of the conscience, the conscience, and the conscience is that inner voice, you know, to know, right? This is for all of us. Everybody has this gift. And I guess when we're talking about proactivity, our question will be how well are we, how active are we in using this gift? Yeah, so there's that self-awareness one. And well, I could project if there's a need to, but I'll say the fourth. Then the third one is imagination. That's what it is. We are able to visualize new possibilities. You know, even let's say like a time like this, you know, with COVID and business shutting down, things look so difficult. We're still able to imagine and envision new possibilities. In fact, at this time, there's lots of innovations coming up. Yesterday, we had a discussion and, you know, it looks like a role of innovations when SK was sharing, you know, now they're doing the, you know, they have all this model, which, well, they may have started before, but they continue to do it. So I think the imagination of new possibilities, that's a gift. So all of us can imagine, you know, it's not unique to anybody. And then there is willpower. And willpower is the power to choose, right? So, and I think now that's a big one in terms of, okay, I have all this, I know all these things, but what do I choose to do? Like, I know, you know, like now we are learning from each other how to give back. We are learning to each other how to visualize, how to know what's ahead of us. So those are 4 unique human gifts which we all have. But the thing is that for us to be proactive, then we have to be aware of them. You know, we need to be able to be aware of them, because being proactive is really about these 4 gifts. I'll just I'll see if I can project this.
Okay. I have to.
Nabu,
I think
kindly.
we're on multiple. I think we're on multiple.
Oh, there is. Okay.
Oh no, I cannot share with. Okay, yeah, I think.
Where are we?
Okay, somebody else is sharing. Anyway, I'll go on to talk as let me know when I can share. But basically, it's those 4 things. If we have time, we're going to do a short quiz, because I think the idea for us to be self-motivated, to be able to do these things, we also need to understand ourselves internally. You know, he talked about monitor my inner conversations, you know, when, oh, you can, all right, super. So I'll just put it up. Where is my share? Yeah, so the proactive model, so there's this 4 unique, there's the 4 gifts, which, there's the 4 gifts which we have, then, which I've already talked about, and then we have the, so this is how it works out for us, you know, as people. There is external stimuli, you know, stimuli is coming out from everywhere. And then there's that part, we have the freedom to choose. So there's that moment when we choose what to do with whatever information we have. For example, right now, we are receiving a lot of information. Let's say, for example, we want to give back to society. Or even in this case, being proactive is where, other than reacting, you're being proactive, you know, so that you're impacting positively. So you have this moment where there's all these things coming from your environment. There's that space of the freedom to choose. And in that space, as you're choosing, for example, let's say we're talking about give back to society. So first we are at the point of going to my self-awareness. Okay, what do I feel about giving to society? Would I rather give the humans, or would I rather, Lubini has talked about, you know, the environment. So that's that aspect of self-awareness of where is it I want to be. And then the imagination, okay, what can I do? What do I have with me now, right? And then all this process is going through, it's all happening very fast. And then the conscious part, what is the right thing to do? What is the wrong thing? You know, what do I do? And then there's the wheel of choosing what it is I'm going to talk about. And all this, as I talk about this model, I'm just referring to what, you know, the things that Nabutola was sharing in terms of no procrastinating. You know, we got to visualize, we got to give back. And the basic thing is to know, where am I, so that I can be able to know where I want to go. Because you see, you need to know, this is where I am now, and this is where I want to go. So being proactive is taking charge, you know, taking control of myself, of my action, rather than everybody else taking control of my action, or, you know, or, rather than me reacting to whatever response I'll get. So, and so this is something, I think the important things I just wanted to point out for today was that part of the self-awareness, the imagination, you know, the conscience. Can I listen? I can listen, because these are abilities we have. How aware are we, or where are we with them? So, and you see, the more proactive, you know, the more we are aware of, if I'm self-aware, if I'm more self-aware, if I'm more clear in my imagination, if I know that I have the ability to imagine, like any of us has the ability to make that innovation. If I know that my right and wrong, you know, my right and wrong, I have the ability to think what is right, what is wrong, and the fact that imagination, we all have it. You know, we can imagine and unleash our full potential, but this is what, but do we, you know, and then the willpower, the power to choose is with us. Then of course, down there is a sense of humor. That's, I mean, that one, the sense of humor is an extra to a human gift, in the sense that, again, we don't take ourselves too seriously, you know, in the sense that there's a way to go around life and laugh about life, you know, because things can be really thick and serious, but, you know, at some point, you've got to have the sense of humor, just adds and makes things bearable. So, so I think what my focus here is on proactive is when we are proactive rather than reactive. And remember, proactive is when you're taking control of what is it you can control. You're looking at what do I have control over? Coming on to these aspects, these are gifts you have, right? And then looking at these gifts and deciding, there are things you can influence. Let's take an example of what we're saying, give back, things you can influence. I mean, going to plant a tree, we can do that. But, you know, we have a concern, you know, our circle of concern is in the sense, maybe around the global warming, really big things. And sometimes if you look at that part, if you react to that information, you'd actually feel very small and like, there's nothing I can do. How do I change, you know, how do I change the ozone? It's so big. But if you think about it proactively, what can I do about it? Then your circle of influence will increase. You see, like what we're doing now, you start thinking like, what can I do rather than what is happening outside? How, you know, how is it? It is affecting me, okay, but what can I do about it, right? So rather than reacting to it, then it's looking at the point of what can I do about it. So I think for me, that's what I had in mind. I don't know if I thought tonight really was going to be like a quiz night where we would have a few minutes. It would be like about 3 minutes. So I don't know if people have their paper and pen and would just go through this, or this is going to be a take home. Because we just wanted to check how self-aware are we? So there are like 4 points there. Yeah, like never, a scale of 0 to 5. Like self-aware, you have 0 for never, 2 sometimes, and 4 for always. You know, like for example, self-aware, you can say I am able to stand apart from my thoughts and feelings and examine changes around me, and change them. Yeah, so are you able to do that? So there are these 4 questions, and in every category, there are 4 questions. And then, you know, in the conscience part, so do I sometimes feel an inner prompting that I should do something or that I should not do something I'm about to do? How aware are we of, you know, a conscience? Do we know we have it and do we listen to it? Then, for example, in imagination, do I think ahead? Do I visualize my life beyond its present reality? Right now, we are caught up in this situation, working from home, but are we able to think beyond it? I mean, I guess this is such a unique situation that everybody, it's new to everybody. You know, we're all grounded, but how are we thinking? Are we able to think beyond it, right? Because now this is being proactive. You know, the reactive aspect of this is that, man, we are all grounded. You know, things are bad and, oh, well, I guess we can wait. But the question is, how do we wait? You know, how do we want to wait, right? So just the awareness of, am I able to visualize? Can I focus on the changes what can I do? As you know, at the point I am, I don't have control over the COVID, over changing the disease, but there are things I can do within myself. For me, this is like a renewal time. You know, it's giving us time and space to think and to dream. You know, all those dreams we've dreamt, but we're so busy doing them. Maybe it's time to visualize. So our imagination, how aware am I of my imagination? And then the 4th one is the independent will. So am I able to keep promises? Am I able to make and keep promises to myself as well as to others? So these are deep questions, but what happens is that when we add this up, then it kind of gives you your score for the gifts. And then you can look and see if you're scoring between 0 and 7, you have an inactive gift. It means, you know, like for instance, if my independent will, if I score and it's between 0 and 7, then perhaps it's inactive. I need to work around it. I need to focus on developing my independent will. If it's 8 to 12, that's active, that's good. 13 to 16, that's highly developed. So that means in terms of proactivity, then you're at a good place. So, and this is now, you know, for each of these sections. So that's what I had thought we would do. But again, it can be a take home. I'm imagining it should be a 5-minute exercise, a crazy thing to do on a night like this and on a meeting like this. Yeah, but that's what I thought I would, share around when we're talking about motivation, bringing in that aspect of the gifts we have. We are not looking for it outside us to be motivated. We are not looking for things away from us. It's all inside us. It's just that we need to separate and know, okay, what are these things? What are these components of this motivation, and how can I work from where I am to where I want to be? So Nabu, I've gone on and on.
No. It's within your space, Mukuhi. Go on.
Yes. So so I don't know, what are people saying? Are people like in shock and quiet and not something?
This is a good audience. They're shy. Or they're just imbibing, your ideas. You know how it is. I think they're enjoying.
I'm actually enjoying very well, very much. And these are great insights for us to really take in.
Thank you, Jane.
Oh, super, Jane. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good topic. So we are trying not to interrupt. That's why we've muted ourselves.
Oh.
We are good students.
Okay. All right. Do you want to take 5 and do the quiz, or do you want to take it home? It would be 5 minutes then. People can randomly throw what they scored at, what it looked like in their scores if they want to. If not, it would just be good to know.
I think, let's give it a try. What does Captain Esther say? Okay, let's do it. 3
All right,
minutes?
it's gonna be 5. I'm gonna type. So it's gonna be 5 minutes, and I'm just gonna put a timer so that we don't spend any more time than that. But again, Nabu, did you have more bolts and nuts, some more sharing? Because then we could take it home if there was more.
This is interesting. Let's do the quiz. Let's see what we score.
Not really, except Thank you, Esther.
So let's do it 5 minutes. It's 20:41. At 20:46 we stop. So I guess I'll give 1 minute for every slide. Is that too long? Let's see. So what I'm going to do, I think, let me read the question and assume the person has written the answer, and so that I can move on to the next slide, right? Okay, so guys, pens and pencils, pens and papers, wait. So self-awareness, under self-awareness, so it's, you're scoring between 0 for never, 2 sometimes, and 4 always. So between 0 and 2, you could be 1 or you could be 3, and that would mean, something. So always goes from 4 going upwards. Okay, so I hope it's clear. So self-awareness, I'm able to stand apart from my thoughts or feelings and examine and change them. So put a score for that. Number 2, I'm aware of the way I think about things and the impact it has on my attitudes and behaviors and the results I'm getting in my life. All right, number 3, I am aware of a difference between my biological, genealogical, psychological, and sociological scripting and my own deep inner thoughts. Then number 4, when the response of other people to me or something I do challenges the way I see myself, am I able to evaluate that feedback against deep personal self-knowledge and learn from it? So that's on self-awareness. Yeah, so put a score for that. And then the next one is the conscience. So the first one is, do I sometimes feel an inner prompting that I should do something or that I should not do something I am about to do? So that's about that inner prompting. Number 2, do I feel the difference between social conscience, what society has conditioned me to value, and my own inner directive? Is what the society says and there's the inner. Do you sense that difference between societies and your inner values? Number 3, do I inwardly sense the reality of the universal principles such as integrity and trustworthiness? And then number 4, do I see a pattern in human experience bigger than the society in which I live that validates the reality of principles? Okay. Then moving on to imagination. Do I think ahead? Do I visualize my life beyond its present reality? Do I use visualization to help reaffirm and realize my goals? Do I look for new creative ways to solve problems in a variety of situations and value the different opinion of others? Okay, so you total your score around imagination. And then independent will, am I able to make and keep promises to myself as well as to others? And 2, do I have the capacity to act on my own inner imperatives, even when it means swimming upstream? Number 3, have I developed the ability to set and achieve meaningful goals in my life? Can I subordinate my moods to my commitments? So now add up your scores for each of the 4 gifts, then measure your score in each section by the following. So let's add them up in each of them, right? So for example, in self-awareness, you'll have a score of either between 0 to 4, 8 to 12, or, wait, is that correct? Yeah, measure your scores in each section by the following keys. Add up your scores for each of the gifts, then you measure. So you'll have, if 0 to 7, inactive gift, 8 to 12, active gift, 13 to 16, highly developed gift. Okay, that's it. I think I can stop sharing.
No, don't stop sharing.
No, I don't stop sharing. I leave it there.
Yeah, let's see what this says. I'm trying to understand my scores.
Okay. Are we going to divulge this, Esther, or is it personal to ourselves?
I don't know. Rachel will tell us where we
Yeah, I think it's personal. If you want to share, I think the idea here is to see which of the gifts, the gift. Remember, those are 4 gifts, right? So we just want to see where are you at, with the gifts. How are you scoring? Because I guess if you scored 4 for all the 4, then you have 16. I mean, if you've, like, for example, we have 4 questions, right? So for in independent will, if I was always, if I was scoring a 4, then it means highly developed. Yeah, so you're just adding the totals of those scores. Remember, your scores are 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, in each one of them. So maybe we could hear Nabu.
I think that's
Yes,
good.
let me Esther, you're going first, or shall I go first?
I tell you, this is so interesting for me.
Okay. Okay.
Rachel, Rachel, go ahead.
There's another Rachel in the house.
Yes, Rachel Dinda. Go ahead.
I want to give my best performances in imagination. I scored everything.
Awesome.
And then I've realized that in my independent will, my score is not so impressive.
What did you say?
But I've done.
That's okay.
But I've done well. I think.
What did you score?
I've scored.
Oh, you don't want.
I can give it 10 or 12. No,
okay,
10 or 12.
10 or 12. Okay.
There's one aspect
right,
I did not
okay.
understand. I did not understand properly.
Okay.
But I think let me give myself the higher. So I think I've scored 12. But
Okay.
I can easily just, I'm able to identify the areas that I need to work on.
All right. What
And
about for yourself? Okay, sorry. Go on.
for the,
It's okay. Go on. You were sharing your scores. It's all right. Go on.
yes, then the
Apart
second
from,
one
yeah.
is, the second one is conscience. Is that it?
Mhm.
That one I scored 14.
Yes, concerns.
Yeah, that one I
Mhm.
scored 14. I also think I did very well there. And the last one is
Yep.
independent what?
Will.
Independent will.
That wasn't the first one.
The first one was self-awareness.
Oh yeah.
Independent will, I think, is the one you share. The first one was self-awareness. Yes.
Then that's the one I scored badly.
Well, you had
Yeah.
16, right?
Yeah, self-awareness.
Which was the third one.
Self-awareness I got
And
12.
the fourth one.
The fourth one I got 10. I also did not understand the last question.
All right.
So I didn't
Anybody
award it.
else? Self-awareness? You didn't get the questions.
I think Jen Amisi would like to say something. Jen?
Anybody
Dr.
else?
Amisi?
I'm not able to see the chart. Let me see the chart.
Yeah,
Anybody
there.
else willing to
looking in the
share?
chat. Carol Namoya has
People already-
posted
Uh-huh.
her section. She seems to have scored 12 across.
Oh, 12. Oh, nice. Yeah. So she's aware of her gift. At least she's, yeah, she seems to be practicing on most of them. Mm-hmm.
She's
Nice.
12 on each of them.
Yeah. Anybody else who managed to score and willing to share?
Remember the independent will? Could we go to independent will?
Okay.
Okay. Jerry Maura has shared. Her self-awareness is that
Independent will is there?
okay. Jerry has said that
Esther, you're sharing yours?
no. I'm reading from the chat. Jerry Maura has shared her scores.
Self-awareness is 13.
13. Then her conscience is 10. Her imagination is 15. And her independence is 12.
Oh, super. Nice.
Yeah, I think they're doing well.
Yeah.
I don't think it's independent. There is one where the last question is if someone challenges what you believe on, which one was that?
Someone challenging this one, yeah, it's self-awareness.
Yeah, it was self-aware when the response of other people yeah, that one really, I think I experienced that last week. I was so mad with somebody at the office and I felt like telling him everything. Then I stopped and my main thought was, okay, I'm annoyed, but my response will define me better. It will even define whom I am. It may as well link me to what the person was imagining. So I was really annoyed then. I just stood there for a moment and then I realized that everything I do or I say will just categorize me in a certain way. So I just kept quiet, I relaxed. And I remember I took my time really to understand what do I have to do with this? Why did so and so behave like this? Is there something in me that I portrayed maybe that did warrant such a response also? So I really took time and to me, it led me to something like meaning and purpose. Meaning and purpose, like purpose is, you believe that something is worth what it is. Maybe someone is worth what it is. And there is what you assign to what you value. If there is a mismatch in that, it will not come out well. So that aspect, self-awareness, I think that really relates with me quite well. And I think it has improved my score. Self-awareness. Yeah, and it's really good. Can I share something also which I
Okay.
thought? Yeah, there is a quote.
Yes.
Yeah, there is a quote I have from one Viktor Frankl. Viktor Frankl, Frankl, and Victor is Victor with K, not C. So Victor once said that between stimuli and response, there is a space, and in that space is and in that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Between whatever motivates us, between that, whatever the stimuli is, and the time that we react, or the time we act, there is some space there. And that space is our power. It has our power, where we make the choice of whatever response we are going to give. And that whatever response we give will determine our growth, and will also determine our freedom. It really sticks well with what you've discussed of being proactive in life. And especially at this time where we are, there is so much going on. And what Prof has also discussed about motivation, we can choose as human beings to keep quiet and go with everything as if it is normal, yet we know quite well it is not normal. We can choose to react to our senses, what we see, what we hear on TV. That is just normal routine life. But I believe in everything we've got the capacity. We have those inner drives that we've discussed. We've got our inner faculties, our God-given talents, our reasoning ability, the will, the imagination, the awareness. What human beings feel is the same. If you see someone suffering, you know they're suffering. If you see someone sick, you know they're sick and you feel it. So it is just reaching out beyond your reactive aspect to really bring in your innate human being and the strong faculties, our inabilities that God has given us to move, to have a causative power than a reactive power. So I'm really happy. I really feel blessed to have come in at this time and to be learning. It is really, it's like, it's joining us. It's joining what we like. It's joining our purpose. It's joining what we stand for in life. And I think I feel very strongly encouraged and built in this manner to join in with you.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you for being so candid and sharing your experience. And it's good that being your first time, you're willing to share what you have experienced. And I'm looking at the time, sadly, and I am realizing that Mukuhi, you need perhaps to take us deeper into these conversations another time. And I think it would actually be very fulfilling if, for example, we had breakout rooms in the next session, so that smaller groups of people are able to take a particular activity or exercise and do it together and share and grow in that group. So that's my thinking moving forward. Perhaps in the next week, yourself and Nabutola can look at how can you connect this topic with the next one, but also think of group activities when we go into breakout rooms so that we all speak, because I'm very sure each of us got our scores and I really am yearning to share with somebody. But at the time, we probably will not be able to do that today. So it's a report. Is that something you can consider for next time?
Okay, yeah, we can chew around it. Yes. Yes. Yeah.
All right.
I have thoroughly been blessed.
Yes.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
I just it's extremely surprising that whatever Daktari was going through is the exact thing that was happening in my life in the office.
Yes.
And it's such a coincidence that it has been opened up to
Yes.
me. And I am so glad that for the first time I held myself, and that situation passed in a very smooth manner.
Wow.
While I was the aggrieved party, just like Dr. is saying. Sometimes when it is so obvious, when you have been aggrieved and you take the active role of being at an elevated space, I think that is what defines our leadership. And I've thoroughly been blessed by the sessions that have taken place, really thoroughly researched, and I feel really been moved forward. And I'm glad to be part of this space. It's amazing. Thank you. We can talk forever. I think we just need more time. This is amazing.
Thank you so much, Rachel,
Yeah.
for your positive feedback. I now want to give it back to Rachel and Nabutola kindly for your final remarks as we wind up. Then we can do our closing session.
Okay, Rachel.
All right. I think thank you. Oh, Nabutola, you want me to go first?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you. So I want to, just before I give my remarks, I wanted to mention, I see Stephen on the chat. He's told us his self-awareness is at 9, his conscience is at 15, imagination 14, independent will 6. Then Jerry also has shared 13 for her self-awareness, conscience 10, imagination 15, and independent will 6. Yeah, so it's good that, this awareness helps. And the most, from the books I've read, the most one, the gifting that is mostly inactive in most of us is the self-awareness one. Yeah, so I think it's just to continue working on it, because the self-awareness one is also the one that that activates the part of think out of the box, because it's a big one on being proactive, like the way Rachel is sharing. She didn't do what you just feel this is what I should respond to, but then, she held herself, and that just gave her power, and it influenced that situation in a way that even herself, she was left like, wow, and the person also was perhaps shocked because they expected, a reaction. So thank you very much. When I was starting, I did not introduce myself properly. Somebody pointed it out. My name is Rachel Macharia. I am an educator and a researcher. My background is in demography. And what I do, I'm a consultant. I do help people and organizations to visualize and to realize their goals. So planning, and then monitoring and evaluating, this kind of things, reflecting on where am I going and where I am now. But meanwhile, I really like to share myself. So thank you so appreciate that. And sorry that we've gone over time. I really just appreciate that you've made this time to be here with us. I would want to end with a quote from Abraham Lincoln. He said, "People are just as happy as they make up their minds to be." And if we think about that and think about it proactive, when you're proactive, you are the force, you are the change agent, you are the captain of your life. You choose your attitude because you have control over that, but you have no control over anybody else but yourself. So Abraham Lincoln said, people are just as happy as they make up their minds to be. Thank you very much. Have a good night. Over to you, Nabutola.
Thank you very much. I would not want to spoil such, wow. I appreciate those who have stayed the course. It's been just so exciting to go into the inner core of how people feel and how sometimes you, instead of reacting, you are proactive and you allow yourself, you count up to 10. If somebody calls you a dog and you also call them a dog, the next thing is there'll be some, nastiness in that. So this is really very, very revealing about our humanness and about our attitude about ourselves. How do we a tree can't be anything but a tree. A dog can't be anything. Remember, we discussed that. But us, we are human beings. We deal with things differently. So I'm so delighted. And I also asked my son in England to just join, but he had to leave. He has a baby, so he had to leave. But he was really, really impressed. And this is just good. Esther, please keep it up. Esther, Ash, Maggie, are you
Yes,
here?
we are here. Thank you.
Pamela? Pamela probably stepped out to study.
Yes, she's a
But
student.
this is just so nice, and it's getting sweeter and sweeter as we go on. And of course, we are learning and we are improving every day. And I want to just one last quote from Les Brown. He says, "It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have the opportunity and not be prepared." Thank you very much and have a good night.
Thank you so much. Have a good
Awesome.
night.
Thank you very much. As we all sign up, thank you for noticing our request that you send us your email. I want to kindly request you to note our topic for Friday. We are going deep. We are looking at our high moments, how did we get that heart high? And then we share our stories. We have our fantastic mentor, Pamela Rita Muni, and myself, Esther. It's a story Friday. It's a Friday. We chill, we relax, and let's talk about what are you high on? We are asking you to kindly bring in somebody else into the parlor. Don't come alone this time. Come and let's have conversations. We will make them deep. We will make them personal. We will make them smaller groups so that we all get a moment to speak, because mentorship is about sharing my experience, sharing what I've gone through, and learning from each other. So we welcome you for Friday, this Friday at 7:30. We can't wait to have you in the panel. For now, may God bless you. Have a fantastic night. Keep safe, wash your hands, wear your mask, and just
You don't know you're having dinner. You wear your mask. Okay, Sarah.
Thank you very much. And this recording is, this session has been recorded and we shall share with you, as I said at the beginning, once we do a bit of edit to shorten it, we shall send it to you on email. So thanks for sharing your contacts with us.